Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the I Voted for Pedro show. I'm obviously the Ted part. This is Pedro, the Pedro part. Obviously not a victory Monday. About as far from it as you could get. I shouldn't say that. I mean, at least it was a close game. At least we had chances to win, but that kind of makes it all the more heartbreaking. But Pedro, how are you doing today in the wake of our huge loss last night?
Oh, look, I'm really, I'm gutted. Obviously the sun rose again today, all those normal things. But, I posted today on my Instagram channel that, that people say it's just a game. But I think sometimes that's the platitude that people use or a throwaway line that people use that don't want to be invested in a team that, can bring exhilaration, that can bring devastation. So to me, it's not just a game. It's a way of it's part of my own culture. And the reason that I am so gutted is that we beat ourselves.
Yeah, that was my title for the show. 49ers Revenge turns to agony as self-inflicted wounds doom Super Bowl dreams. And so I had some screenies of the CMC fumble and the Ray muff punt. I guess technically it wasn't a muff punt because
No.
Terrell Luter Jr. was the fumble and he just kind of refumbled it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, you could add Dre Greenlaw to that list of self-inflicted wounds, and what a weird way to do it, coming off the sideline. I don't think I've ever seen a stranger injury in all my years. And, he was already having a great game, and hard to say that couldn't have been the difference in the game just all by itself.
Well, a lot of the spaces that Mahomes went to was where, as it was quite obvious, and the commentators mentioned it, was where Dre Greenlaw was supposed to be. But just as we were chatting off air, it was, the player management throughout the year. There was a lot of, Dre played a lot of games, not much rest. Who's the guy that said choke? Is he a Niners fan or?
No, he's a member. It's Mitch Koski. He's an Eagles fan. And, you notice how the Eagles fans were all real deathly quiet. Now here they come. If you're an Eagles fan, he only beat us because Purdy got injured in the NFC Championship game. And you guys went one and done, dude. We have never done that under Kyle. And especially one and done to freaking Baker Mayfield, bro. Get a grip, man. Eagles fans, sorry, but, I saw also their defensive tackle was chiming in too. And just such loser behavior. No offense, Mitch. You're a great guy, but this is beneath you. To call that a choke when the game went to overtime, we had chances to win. That's not what a choke is, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
it's not
enjoy yourself. Love to see how everything goes. Firing all your coordinators and all that. I'm sure that'll work out really well for the Eagles with your shell of the defense and all those great draft picks. What happened to that great draft, Mitch, you guys had in 2023? You guys were supposed to take everything over, and we smoked you, and then you guys were never the same after that. So we broke the Eagles, and but welcome, Mitch. Welcome. Got OG in the house saying I'm tuned in. Welcome, OG. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, busy over here in the chat. Make sure you check out his channel. He is a creator, and he is also a Rams fan. Pretty cool guy. Says Dynasty Chiefs. Yes, they are officially a dynasty with 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. Fire Kyle Shanahan. We can talk about that some. I don't think I'm there. But he needs to change. He needs to not forget to run the ball somehow. And he needs to fix that O-line somehow, But, he's so stubborn, though, and he's saying, I wouldn't change anything. Doesn't give you a lot of hope. But Kyle's not – regardless of what anybody says about whether to fire him or not, Jed's not firing Kyle Shanahan, not this year, that's for sure. He made it pretty clear that, beating the Lions in the NFC Championship game, made his job safe for at least one more year. Prayers to Greenlaw, absolutely. Yeah, he'll probably miss at least the beginning of the season with the torn Achilles. Mahomes magic. Yeah, Mahomes is the best, no doubt about it. They also, let his O-lineman hold a lot without calling the penalties. I'm not going to sit here and blame the refs, but there was definitely some bad calls and non-calls in the game for sure. There were some, that went our way too. I'm not saying there weren't, but just when you can just card out two inferior offensive tackles like they do and just let them hold, it's kind of infuriating. So
it's infuriating. It's almost you tear your hair out. But anyway, again, it's just futile blaming the refs on, the game's over. They've won the game, but there are definitely, the guy Daniel saying, I'm not at fire, Kyle Shanahan. I got into a bit of a bust up with we've got a chat down here in Australia. The guy, some of the guys were at a bar watching. One was pretty drunk. I said that Kyle was, doing to us what he can do, and that is get away from the run, set up, and not get our third downs. And I know that's not all on him, but it got pretty robust between the guy, one of the guys, and myself, who refuses to see, I think, what a lot of people see in Kyle, a great coach, but not necessarily great in the moment, because not knowing the OT rules was an that is I can't even put into words how bad that is, because even the ref said he looked at Fred and said, "So you're going to take the ball?" And then he said, "Yes." It's like, well, and you're right, 49er media. The offensive line has always been rejected by this organization, by Kyle and John, for some reason. He is a smaller quarterback. He needs some time back there. You can see a lot of the batted balls that kept on coming that he threw yesterday was because it just comes down to physical stature. But a lot of the passes, he had offensive linemen in his lap. So anyway, I'll stop for the time being.
There you go. No, that's fine. We got Alex Givens in the house. He's a Chiefs fan. He came on with me. He's either last week or the week before, in the 2 weeks leading up to Super Bowl. We got all 90 finesse saying Kittle was a no-show. I'm not sure if Kittle was a no-show or if Kyle just didn't scheme him open.
Kittle was injured. His shoulder was something was wrong with his shoulder. He had to go into the. But that's even right. Ayuk didn't get.
I remember when it happened. I was like, it looked like watch his right shoulder on this play.
Yeah,
play to the right, and he got up kind of slowly from it, and it was holding his shoulder.
Yeah,
got a little spongy in the house. He's an Eagles fan. He's living it up. There you go, a little sponge. But just remember, you guys were one and done to Baker Mayfield. So
yeah, that's
enjoy. Enjoy your Super Bowl. It was us losing, but I don't think Chiefs. Eagles are going back anytime soon. In fact, maybe we should sign Lane Johnson, right tackle. He's a free agent, so that might be a good pickup for us.
Is he any good?
Lane Johnson's the best right tackle in football. Yeah, the Eagles right tackle.
Is it the Eagles?
Yeah,
we got to sign him. Then we have to sign him.
Chris Jones is a free agent. So is L'Jarius Sneed. We could pick up a lot of players from our former enemies if we had the cap space, but we'll see.
Well, we've still got another year with Purdy on his salary. If Kyle doesn't win one, I mean, look, the window could be closed now. We don't know, but if he
Super Bowl hangover is real. That's what I was telling Eagles fans last year, especially for the team that loses.
Absolutely.
So, we got Almighty Finesse in the house saying was good. We got Onshul for an intermediate in the house. Says, hey, Pete and Ted, please draft and sign some on the line. Yeah. Kyle got extended. There's no one better than him we could hire.
Yeah, you know what? And you're probably right, 49er media. But
I mean, the one way I agree with that for sure is that, you know, you got Purdy as your quarterback. He's definitely a very good fit for Kyle's system.
Yeah.
If we brought in another coach who ran a different system, it's pretty, you know, likely to think that Purdy would regress with a different scheme. But you know, there's nothing's written. I mean, I can't prove that. Obviously, it just that's my gut feel.
Well, the other thing is that, you know, I mean, I was talking to a mate of mine last night, and can we bring back D'Amico, which we're not going to. But anyway, I think, you know, does Kyle need to step back from the play calling and just be the head coach? Is that possible? I think, because I think it's proven time and time again that he will not situationally get us out of positions for us to win a Super Bowl.
I mean, there was, you know, a pretty big guy. I think it was Matt Miller, who's a big NFL guy, you know, basically was saying 49ers need to, 1, fix the O-line, 2, fix CB2. And that's not Lenore. That's Ambry Thomas. And then 3, hire someone Kyle trusts in big moments to remind him of team strengths. Way too much galaxy brain in critical situations. And I quote tweeted, I said, I've been saying these things for years.
Yeah.
You know, we need to draft. I had Joe Valerio on, you know, this last week, you know, who's a Chiefs offensive tackle who holds the TD record for offensive linemen with 4. So I'm thinking, hey, we're going to draft a tackle and a tight end who'd know better about that than Joe Valerio. I'll have him on. And of course we didn't. And then, you know, when I had him on last week, I'm like, boy, I hope my Super Bowl prediction is better than my draft prediction. And maybe if my draft prediction had come true, maybe our Super Bowl prediction would have come true too if we had drafted, you know, a second tight end who could block and catch and a better tackle than, you know, Colton McKivitz.
Colton McKivitz, God almighty. I mean, there's the one thing, whenever I say that, people say, oh, we didn't give up many sacks this year. But there are such things as quarterback pressures that definitely affect the way your quarterback operates.
Well, and as a front-running team, we didn't get pressured a lot because we were able to run and we were able to run play action. But whenever we had to come back and drop back and pass, it was dangerous. Jason Captain Niner Massey in the house. Check out his channel. He says, Talofa Faithful, it's Talofa Faithful in Samoan. If y'all converted that 3rd and 4th with 2 minutes left in the game,
that's right.
We all won. Yeah. No, that's what I was thinking was like when we got the ball back, I think we had like 5:29 on the clock. I'm like, man, if we can just run this clock down and score a field goal or a TD with no time left, that's pretty outstanding. But then the drive stalled and we had to kick the field goal. Brutal. Steve-O Supremo now says the guy who scored the TD didn't know the rules either. I think the rules thing is being a little bit overblown in that, like, I mean, if we're saying Kyle didn't know the rules, and it seems like he didn't, fine, whatever. But like, if Kyle knew the rules, was he then going to defer on overtime? Because our defense seemed like it was kind of gassed after that long Chiefs drive to end regulation. Do you really want to stick that gas defense back on the field, or do you want to give them a rest while we go and do our drive? So I agree, though. It's terrible. I mean, I knew the rules. You know, I was in a big party and everybody's like, well, so what happens here? Like, someone's like, oh, if we score a touchdown, the game's over. I'm like, no. Both teams
they get a
ball in overtime now because of the Bills Chiefs rule. They didn't want that to ever happen again. And so I guess that's not totally true. If the defense that comes out first gets a pick 6 or a fumble 6 and scores, then the game's over. But barring that, both teams touch the ball. And then again, the only reason why your offense wouldn't get the ball is because your defense scored, so you still get the score.
I get that the guy who scored the TD didn't know the rules either. What does that mean? I don't understand.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure what TD he's talking about, but I'm guessing it's McCole Hardman.
Right.
And you know, it, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Anyway.
Yeah, fill us in, Steve-O. Exactly. I don't understand why they continually want to draft T-line to big deals, but not the O-line. Yeah. I mean, we had the worst offensive line of any team we played in the postseason. And, it really it showed up quite a few times. I mean, that's why some of the reasons why we were losing in those first two games. And I think it's one of the biggest reasons why we lost that and not running the ball enough. Like you said, 8 pass plays and out of 9 plays and 6 in a row with 2 failed 3 and outs. Not good. Purdy started using pass plays, but McCaffrey kept quiet, which is dumb. Keep it simple, use your weapons, win the game. Yeah, Kyle has forgotten to run several times now. Injuries after injuries. Yeah, that was brutal for sure. Especially when Jair Brown went down, and then I'm like, oh boy, that means we're going to see Logan Ryan. And guess who McCole Hardman beat on that last TD? It was Logan Ryan standing there looking like a dummy. So OG said San Fran had an opportunity when they elected overtime to receive the ball. I had a feeling KC would win. I would never want Mahomes to have the ball last. No, that's true. That's very true. That's his specialty. You just hope that you can score a touchdown, but you also don't have that urgency with that first drive. That's the problem with taking the ball first. Is like, if the Chiefs had scored a TD at first, and obviously you got to go for it on fourth down.
Yeah,
and Romo was good to bring that up pretty early. A lot of people are on Tony Romo, but maybe I missed some of the broadcast or some things he did, but I feel like he's a pretty good broadcaster, and I like that comment at least that he made there.
So unfortunately down here, our DAZN app, which gets the American broadcast, was way behind, and so we had to watch the ESPN broadcast, which was specifically for Australia, commentated by Americans. The quarterback Ryan, who's on ESPN, white guy, got the safety in the super. Got a safety. What's his name? Anyway, yeah, that was so. I didn't hear a lot of the Romo's comments.
Fair. Alex Gibbons saying Snead is not leaving KC. Chris Jones is another story. Interesting. Oh, we could use a better defensive tackle too.
I don't hear anything about
Kelsey Swift love story.
I cannot stand Kelsey. He's an absolute moron. I cannot stand him.
Pretty bad for sure. We had somebody else new. Oh, Jimmy Perez joined. Said, "Well, damn, he's heartbroken." Almighty Finesse was saying Kittle was injured late in the game. Yeah, I think Kyle just didn't scheme him open or didn't feature him.
I'm sorry. It just feels like he goes to water.
Or like they were just double covering. I did see at least one play where they double covered him. It was where we had a bunch left and Kittle was over on. Oh, actually, it was the touchdown play where Juwan Jennings threw the ball across the field to CMC, and CMC scored a touchdown. The primary receiver was Kittle coming across from the right to the left, and it wasn't open, and so Juwan Jennings threw it back to CMC as the dump off. And I think that's interesting.
He's smart, Juwan. It's very smart.
When that happened, I was like, oh my God, I've been talking about this ever since we drafted Juwan, that we have all these weapons who can throw the ball. We know Kittle and Debo and CMC have thrown touchdowns, both against the Rams, coincidentally. And then, we know that Juszczyk was the backup, not the backup, the emergency quarterback. In case the backup got injured for a long time, Juice was the emergency QB. And I said the only one we hadn't seen throw a pass in the NFL was Juwan Jennings. But I said a million times he played Wildcat at Tennessee, Wildcat quarterback in goal line situations. And I was like, ever since we drafted him, I was like, I can't wait to see Juwan Jennings throw a pass in the NFL. It's only taken like 3 years to get it, but we finally got it. It was a cool play. But then everybody wants to be like, oh, well, if Purdy was the man, then you wouldn't have to do that play. So people are trying to tear it down for that. But it was a great play. And hey, it scored. And, it got the ball to CMC in space. And that's, about all you can ask for. We already saw that. Sorry, let me scoot down. Anshul says Lane Johnson isn't a free agent yet. Interesting. I didn't realize that. Kyle should have run the ball, but as always, freezes in big moments. Yeah, I mean, I resisted the Kyle narrative for a long time, but you got to just say he is a Super Bowl choker until proven otherwise at this point.
100%. That's the line. He's a Super Bowl choker until he can prove otherwise, because at the moment he's lost 3.
Well, I don't totally blame him for Atlanta because Dan Quinn was the head coach. And I always say head coach gets the glory and, head coach gets the blame. I get it that he was the play caller, but, Dan Quinn was the DC and his defense gave up a ton of points in that game. And ultimately, like, when have you ever heard an offensive coordinator get blamed for a Super Bowl loss before? Yeah. So I'm not going to do it now. I won't. Yeah. I mean, a little. It's in the back of my mind, I'll say, but I'm not counting it like the 2 where he was the head coach and had control over personnel and and had control over who the DC was and all that stuff. So we got Philly Bowl Entertainment, the Regal Eagle. What up, chat? What up, Philly Bowl? Welcome. Would y'all trade for Hassan Reddick?
Who you can have Chase Young if you want.
Although he played a little better last night.
He was a little better, but can we trust throughout the whole season? I mean, one game.
We can't even trade him. He's a free agent, so I mean, he's just going to walk probably. But I would trade for Hassan Reddick to go across from Nick Bosa. Absolutely, yes. I'm not a huge fan of Reddick, but he's way better than anything we've had, other than maybe D Ford, and even D Ford, was so hot and cold with all the injuries.
Did you see Bosa? He was inconsolable after when sitting on the benches.
Yeah.
And he was saying he didn't do enough. He's going to sleep for a week. He works so hard.
He was great, and he was disciplined, and he mush rushed, and he didn't go past.
The lane
didn't go past past Mahomes. I mean, how many times have been harping on that? Don't go deeper than the quarterback. Wait for help to get there, and then everybody pounce, and it's exactly what he did. And God bless him. Bosa was an animal.
God bless him, man. I love that guy.
Him and Juwan Jennings were the 2 stars of the night.
Yeah, for me too.
Other than CMC, but CMC had the fumble, which is a little tricky,
Believe that.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So he's fun guy in the house. He's a Rams fan, but he's pretty cool. Condolences, congratulations, mostly dominant. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to take a bunch of grief from a bunch of other teams that, didn't do nearly as well as us. We lost. It's a bummer, but it's not like we got blown out or lost badly. We lost to the best quarterback in football, the best coach in football, and one of the best defenses in football. And so there's no shame in the loss. Except for that, I think we could have won if we had done a few things differently. But other than that, Kyle is still a really good coach, and he's not going anywhere. And I just hope he can learn. I hope he says that he wouldn't change a thing, but I hope deep down he would look at what he could change, because the rest of us sure are. That's for sure.
He like, as Grant asked him directly, it seemed as though you went away from the run there in the 3rd quarter, which he did. He lied he said, no, we didn't go against the run. It was a different we didn't get the first down. I'm like, we didn't get the first down because he didn't run the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they stuck with the run. They stuck with Pacheco. Why don't we? I just don't.
Kyle gets cute with it. He always wants to show how good he is with calling pass plays. Bill Cavani says
was so telegraphed.
Yeah. Bill says Kyle's had enough time to prove he's the guy. I kind of agree. I also kind of, like I was saying last offseason that Andy Reid was Kyle until Kyle passed on Mahomes. And I think there's a little evidence that Brock Purdy could be Kyle's Mahomes. I mean, he'll never be Mahomes per se, but he could be enough to get Kyle over the hump. And we saw it last night. We were close to doing it. A few things break our way. Dre Greenlaw doesn't get hurt. Those fumbles, call some more run plays, whatever the case may be. We definitely could have won that game. So I don't think he's had enough time with Purdy because Purdy's only had one full season. And let's be real, folks. He didn't have a full off season. He was rehabbing from that UCL until like August, until like basically training camp. Yeah. And even in training camp, like he was not himself. He did not look good. And that's what I reported from there, was that he was throwing pick sixes, everything deep was long or short. And we saw that improve this season dramatically, like way better than 2022, which was way better than camp. So I don't think Kyle's had enough time, but I think if it happens one more time, I think, you would have to say enough's enough. Yeah. We don't want to be the Buffalo 49ers, right?
No, sorry, swearing.
No, that's all right. Spencer Burford had sophomore slump. Yeah, and then Feliciano got injured. That was the other problem. Dre got injured. Feliciano got injured. Debo kind of was dinged up. Kittle was dinged up. We had a lot of injuries in game for sure. But yes, Burford, and even as a rookie, Burford wasn't great. He was platooning with what's his bucket? I'm blanking on his name now. Aaron Donald's dad, Brunskill, Daniel Brunskill.
Yeah.
So I mean, Burford's never been great. Let's be honest. Thinking the same thing. All right, I might be a little behind here. The OT rules wouldn't have mattered anyways. Casey was still gotten the ball since SF kicked a field goal. Well, no, I mean, okay. I mean, if you're saying the same thing happens, but I don't know. I don't think that makes sense, Alex. I think.
Yeah. Next one. Harvin said he blacked out after he made the catch.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Well, it was a huge comeback for Hardman because he was kind of the GOAT, not in a good way GOAT, but the bad GOAT against the Bills. Rishi Rice is a monster. Not last night. What do you have? One catch?
Yeah, I don't even know.
But I mean, I think we devoted a lot of attention to him. Somebody said that they thought Rishi Rice could get the same, look as Hardman did. And I was like, no, because part of why Hardman got what he got was because all the attention was on Rice and Kelsey. Steve-O, yep, I just can't Niner right now. Oh, I understand. Like it's gonna rock a lot of people to their core. It's not like the other ones where we could just say, oh, it was Purdy's elbow, or oh, it was Jimmy, or oh, it was whatever, dropped heart. We've had this list of excuses, reasons, whatever you want to call them, for the other losses. This one's on us. There's mostly self-inflicted wounds. Yeah, Casey getting arrested was an absolute steal. Ayuk was wide open. Yeah, Chris Jones just blew the play up.
Yeah, McKivitz just let him turn.
It was Burford. It was Burford, actually.
Oh, was it?
Burford went left, and he was supposed to block him. Yeah, and McKivitz was too far outside to do anything about it. Yeah, no, I mean, but McKivitz had a bunch of other. I mean, I think there was Coach Yak posted up the pass blocking, madness, and it was McKivitz, I think, had 5 pressures, and kind of everybody had 2 or 3. Let's see.
One thing I think, as you're looking at
actually, it was Aaron Banks gave up 5 pressures. Yeah. McKivitz 4, Burford 3, and that's amazing because Burford came in pretty late in the game. I think it was second half. So Burford probably had the most per time in there. And then Brendel 2, Feliciano 1, Trent Williams 0. Which is interesting too, because I was saying Feliciano is not that great a pass blocker, but clearly he did a good job with pass blocking last night.
Just thinking about it, he was so comfortable on that first drive, and it's stalling like that I think was probably the beginning of the end, Ted. Unfortunately, the offensive player of the year, fumbling that ball, stopped that drive. And I'm not going to say it lost us the game, but it was probably the catalyst to us, because we were going down the field to score a touchdown right then. We were, no doubt.
No doubt. You got Sentinels Football Channel in the house. Check him out. Tony Romo's insufferable to me. He doesn't shut up and glazes Mahomes' donut. Jeremy Diesel Gaming. Check out his channel too. This just wasn't our day. Couldn't even jog onto the field without an injury. I know. That was just crazy the way Dre popped his Achilles. Jennings had the MVP. Absolutely. If we had won, Jennings was going to be the MVP. Has anyone at ESPN seen the community post today, mostly non-football related? I haven't now. Welcome, Kenny. Danbury Sports Highlights. Yo. 0-3 in Super Bowls. No. We're 5-3 in Super Bowls. 0-3 in the last 3. Yeah. But we're 5-3. Almighty finesse. Nice try, though. Most Super Bowls belong to the same few quarterbacks and coaches. Yeah. There's like Belichick and Brady, Reed and Mahomes, Walsh and Montana,
Walsh and Young.
Yeah, but no, that wasn't Walsh. That was Seifert.
Seifert. Yeah.
That was one. Yeah. So Montana one was Seifert, and Young one was Seifert. But no, that's definitely true. How many coaches have been to 3 Super Bowls? Well, Kyle hasn't. So that's the thing people keep forgetting.
Bill Belichick, coach of the Bills.
Muff punt honestly remind me of the Muff versus the Giant. Yes, absolutely. I was thinking Kyle Williams. Yeah, it was painful for sure. Except for, it was different because Luter, it went off Luter's ankle. It wasn't a clean ball to field the way it was. So Kyle Williams is still much worse. And Kyle had 2 of them. So Ray only had 1. So it's really not even close to the same thing. If you look at it. But yes, special teams was brutal for us. Did Mahomes throw a pass over 5 yards?
Yes.
Yes, he threw a monster pass to Watson. Must have been Watson. And then Pacheco fumbled and it saved us. But he threw like a 70-yarder. So yeah, Steve-O, way over. It's funny because I was at a party and somebody turned to me and said, "How we doing, Ted?" And I said, "Well, defense is doing well, but you never fall asleep on Mahomes." Next thing you know, boom, Mahomes.
Well, there's somebody, you're at a party and they're saying, "How you doing?" They're not watching it. What are they doing with their lives?
Oh, well, they're not. They're all talking, and so they're like, there's like a few, at a large party, there's a group of people that are intently watching. And then there's like people that are like talking and watching. There's some people that are just talking and not even watching. So, and they were humoring me because they know that I'm an intense fan.
Yeah.
Actually, it's pretty cool. I actually got to meet John Pay. He was there at the party. He's a former Stanford quarterback, and he was a backup quarterback for the 49ers in '89 when when we won the Super Bowl. There was some talk about him or Steve Young, who might maybe take over for Joe Montana at one point. Like, and John said basically like, hey, I was better at practice than him, but Steve was a gamer. You get him in a game, and he was incredible. And because he said to me, he's like, oh yeah, when I was on the team, and I'm like, you were on the team? I'm like, what's your name? He's like, John Penn. I'm like, no way, I used to watch you when you were at Stanford, and da da da. It was really cool. So very knowledgeable. He was calling out some of the formations and stuff, and we definitely had a good time talking. So
nice.
Got to get him on the show next.
Do it.
I think we'll find a way to do that. Let's see here. Sentinel saying Super Bowl 58, 2011 NFC CG, 2020 season, Super Bowl 54 all wrapped up in a nice S sandwich bow. I mean, don't forget like 2012 Super Bowl and 2013 NFC Championship where Sherman was screaming to Aaron Andrews about Crabtree. I mean, man, that was one of the worst. That was kind of the end of the Harbaugh era too. So that's the thing. Like, people are like, oh, is this like a defining moment? Is this the end of, the 49ers legacy? And it's like, I don't know. We don't know at this point. Like, we could come back and go to the Super Bowl and win it next year. I mean, along those lines, the 49ers are favored to win the Super Bowl.
They're Super Bowl favorites right now.
59. And I can see that. And honestly, like, people are like, well, how could that be? How could that be? I'm like, well, it's really pretty simple. It really right now, what you're looking at is who has the best chance to get there. And then, based on that, who has the best chance to win once you're there. And I don't think we have that great a chance to beat whoever goes from the AFC, but who goes from the AFC, you just never know. Especially, if Burrow can get healthy again, if the Bills can reload, whatever. Bottom line is, it's a lot tougher road from the AFC than the NFC, at least based on this year. We definitely seem like the class of the NFC. And I think that's really what it is. It's really more of how good the AFC is than how good the Niners are, and how bad the NFC is relative to the Niners. But we'll see. When the Chiefs were 4th and 1, I thought y'all was going to stop them. Yeah, I did too. And then I think that was the one where Mahomes just ran it straight up the gut and got like 10 or 15 yards. Left punts, freak injuries, not running the ball in the third with the offensive player of the year. Yeah, no doubt. It's frustrating stuff. He said he wouldn't. Kyle said he wouldn't change anything, do anything differently in the post game.
Yeah, he did. That's what he said.
Fire him. Get the. I mean, I understand the sentiment, but like I said, Sentinel, I don't know if you were here earlier. You think Purdy's going to do as well in a system that's not Kyle's? Because I doubt any coach that comes in will keep running Kyle's system.
No. Even putting like Greasy as OC.
But Greasy just got hired as an OC, didn't he? Or he's in consideration for that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's already happening somewhere else. He's a loser. He is, until proven otherwise. He is, but he's also. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. Somebody was talking about on the radio this morning. Maybe it was Steinmetz on 95.7. I forget. But they were saying, "Oh, Kyle's got the monkey on his back, right? Kind of like how Steve Young did till he won the Super Bowl." And he said, "You get the monkey off your back. Go 7-10 for 3 seasons in a row." Right, because then the monkey's not on your back to win the Super Bowl, right? Then they're just like, get to the playoffs, man. So, in a way, we're kind of spoiled. In a way, it's. I understand the mentality of like anything short of a ring is a failure. And yeah, I mean, I think I said I'd rather not go to the Super Bowl than go and lose.
Same.
But you got to get there to win it. You got to take your shots, and we had shots at it. So I don't know that I would change that part of getting to the Super Bowl. I just would change what we did once we were there. So hopefully Kyle, maybe the Cabo crew will impress onto him about what needs to be done because Kittle sure seemed to be very upset at the end of the game.
Kittle was upset. Maybe McCaffrey can get in his ear and say, "Listen,
McCaffrey,
give me the effing ball."
Maybe Debo. Yeah, I mean, and I wonder, like, if all those same cats are going to go to Cabo this year, or if it's a different vibe.
Could be.
It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out this year.
That was a lot of. That was. I mean, Grant can be a little bit fanciful.
Kyle has lost to the Super Bowl winner 3 times. Hate if you like. Yeah, in fact, the only time that we lost that wasn't to a Super Bowl winner was the Eagles. And you could argue we wouldn't have lost if Purdy wasn't injured. I'm not gonna say we wouldn't have, but there's a good chance we wouldn't have lost if Purdy wasn't injured, as we saw this year. In fact, it's not just Kyle though, too. It's Harbaugh as well, because when we lost the Giants, they beat the Pats. When we lost the Ravens, obviously they were the Super Bowl champs. And when we lost to the Seahawks in 2013, that was when they won their only Super Bowl ever. Seahawks won in like 50 freaking years. Good job. A lot of them jumping in my mentions, and so like I'm just if it's Chiefs fans, I'll give them a good game, but if they spam me, I'm blocking them. And if any of these idiots come at me from these other teams, especially the Seahawks didn't even make the playoffs, I'm like, whatever. See ya. 2024 season is better. Be Bill Belichick, Brian Greasy, OC, and Wilkes, DC, or I'm not going to any games. We're not hiring Bill Belichick. Yeah, and I hope we don't, honestly. I think he's over the hill. I don't think he offers anything other than great defensive knowledge, but I'm glad you like Wilkes. That's good, because Wilkes did a good job yesterday, for sure.
Did a great job.
I've been kind of defending him most of the season, and I feel good about it. So sick of this. He liked Jed York on the Super Bowl losing team 0-3. Well, yeah, it's frustrating, no doubt. Like I said, nobody wants to be the Buffalo 49ers. At the same time, there are a lot of teams that would love to have our success. I mean, just look at the Browns have never even been to a Super Bowl. Same thing with the Lions. Quite a few others, but those are 2 that were decent teams this year. We're already the Bills of the 20s. Yeah, no, I mean, I can see why people say that's why I brought it up. I mean, I'm not going to run from it. I will say it's a little different in that, I mean, almost worse in a way that we were favored, because, like, at least for the Bills, like, they were always the underdogs in those Super Bowls. It's sort of like whoever won the NFC Championship last year, you pretty much just crown them as Super Bowl champ, whether it was the Cowboys or Niners. And, I think we were favored against the Chiefs the first time in 2019. And I know we were favored by 2 yesterday. So that kind of makes it even more frustrating. Anthony Tapia in the house. Lost so much last night. Yeah, I did. Probably Dre for half or more of the season next season.
He's such a good player.
He is. Were you happy with Purdy's overall game?
Yeah, I was.
Me too. Overall, I mean, if we could protect him a little better, I think he would have done just fine. But the pressure he was under was ridiculous, and they spied him. And here's the thing. Here's why I was happy with Purdy, because they played too high shell and they spied him. And that's all I ask for the quarterback is get a guy out of the box and make one of the guys left in the box spy you, so that you're not having eyes on our running back or our weapons, or if you do, you're a step delayed. And that's Purdy did that, like I said, he played pretty well. Most of the balls that ended up looking bad were because they were tipped. And that's on the O-line partially, also on his height, but can't change that. Bills are small market. We're never winning in NFL eyes. No money in it.
So this is the thing, right? That the whole scripted takes and, hey, SG, with all like 3 seconds to go, it's just the Kelsey Taylor stuff. And as soon as you hear that when McCall Hardman goes over, officially it's a dynasty. Like sometimes does the conspiracy theorist in me think, is this just so rigged or what? But anyway, I
brought it up in my article. I said, Bill, I hate to talk about this. Usually in my articles, I don't talk about that kind of stuff. But when they picked Bill Vinovich to be the head ref, and I'm like, and he jammed us in, Super Bowl 54 against the Chiefs. And like, how much money has Taylor Swift brought in? Like 331 million to the NFL. So last I saw, I'm sure it's more now. And like, how much is Roger Goodell willing to do to keep those Swifties happy?
Well, that's right. That's right.
The NFL is all about expansion, and so
yeah.
And so whether it's playing games, in Great Britain or Germany or now Spain or now Argentina, I think Sao Paulo, the Eagles are opening in Sao Paulo, their opening day of 2024.
I wish the Niners would come down
Is
here.
that Brazil? Sao Paulo, Brazil? Sorry. It's deep South America, regardless whether it's Argentina or Brazil. Sao Paulo is Brazil. So if that's the right city, then it's Brazil. So my apologies.
Yeah.
Andrew, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Doing my best just to cover the Niners, without being too much of a homer about it, and have great guests like Pete and whatnot.
I haven't checked Lombardi's. I know Lombardi was doing some homering last night.
He was, indeed. He was saying, defending Kyle pretty much.
Always. Come on, man. You're a journalist.
Yeah.
They're branching out to try and make the NFL a worldwide brand. You can't do that without a lot of
Just what I was just saying. Yeah, I hadn't seen this yet, honestly, Sentinel, but get out of my head, man. Kenny says, of course, everyone gets serious. You think this morning on ESPN would have something to post about the Niners had won? Oh, yeah. No. There'll be a lot of talk about the three-peat.
Well, look, hopefully it would have, the post would have been, hopefully Taylor crying into her wine with, I actually like Blake Lively, who was standing next to her. That's Ryan Reynolds' wife. Not that I know her, of course, but yeah, just that repeated shots of her every time that went to her. Everyone that we were watching with was just like, get her off the screen.
Everyone I was watching was like, hey, every time they show her, something bad happens. Keep it up. But of course that changed. Andrew says Tony Romo was getting on Kyle for not running, as we all should. Chiefs were talking three-peat Saturday night. They're setting them up as one of the greatest dynasty ever. Yeah, they're they're up there with the Steelers of the 70s, the Niners of the 80s. They're kind of up with half of the Patriots. The Patriots have two dynasties, kind of, though. So it's, they're both with Tom Brady, but they were kind of two distinctly separate teams where they won 3 and then 3 again. But yeah, they're on par with all those. I mean, obviously they're 3-1, and the Niners went 4-0 or 5-0, but 4-0 with Montana. But no, they're in that conversation with a lot of these great dynasties. Absolutely.
Is Nick Wright a Chiefs fan?
Yes, and a Mahomes fan and a LeBron fan. And I even had a receipt to pull on him because he said, "Oh, the game's not going to be close, and it's going to be like a total blowout," and blah 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 blah. And I wanted to post it up, but I was just like, we lost. It's just, I know we didn't lose the way he said we would. Not even close to not even close. It was as close as you can get, OT. But yeah, he's terrible. He is terrible. Awful. Super annoying. And he claims he never had anybody who never had doubt in that game is lying.
There's just so many. I need to stop looking at Twitter. It's driving me insane.
Yeah, it's a cesspool for sure.
Oh, it's just the 3rd and 4. When we had a minute to go, like it was actually under 2 minutes to go, and he just couldn't get the ball out in time because another blown coverage of our line. It's just like, come on, for God's sake.
Yeah, it's been something that I've been wanting Kyle to fix for many years, and I just keep hoping that this will be the thing that gets him. I mean, I said it when it looked like we might lose against the Lions. I was like, maybe this will get Kyle to finally invest in offensive line. And maybe now this will, but I don't know. He just seems so stubborn.
What does his dad say to him? Like, Kyle, get your head out of your ass. Look at what I did. Because look at the running game.
Yeah, Terrell Davis. That's how Mike got his first Super Bowl in Denver. It was Elway, but let's be real, it was Terrell Davis that was the real catalyst. Elway couldn't get it done in several tries before that. I think at least 2 times he lost before winning 2 with Terrell Davis. So, yeah, it's brutal. Let's see here.
This reminds me of Super Bowl 3. When was that?
That was in like 1969 or 70.
I think he's taking the piss, isn't he? Like he's just joking.
I don't know. Elaborate. Can you tell us what you mean? Very proud of 49er boys. They're superior to KC 90% of the game. I'm not going to go that high, but yeah, maybe 2.5 or 3 of the 4 quarters for sure. Bryant, smash the like button. Yeah, we're on both channels. So if you're on TED Talks Ball, make sure you check out Niners DNA. The link's in the description. And also, if you're on Niners DNA, come on over and give me a like and subscribe too. It really helps us out. We fought hard and almost got it done. Yeah. Niners will win the Super Bowl this year. That would be a first time ever. The Super Bowl winner came back and won. Super Bowl loser came back the next year and won the Super Bowl. I don't know that any's ever even been back to the Super Bowl the next year, but I know none have ever won it the next year.
What did Kansas City do after they got beat by the Bucs? Did they get to the playoffs? They got beat. No, they got beat in this championship by Burrow.
Bengals. Yep. No team that's lost has ever won the next year, and we could be the first to do it. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying the other problem is no QB that's ever lost the Super Bowl in their first appearance has ever gone back to another one. So that would be Brock Purdy. But again, never been done until it's been done. Brock Purdy's done a lot of things that people have said had never been done before. So maybe we could add that to the list. 1 pass over 5 yards from Mahomes, I guess. Not like Brock had a lot of long passes either. He just didn't have time because of the O-line. But again, if you think I'm absolving Kyle because of bad O-line play, I'm not, because it's Kyle. It needs to prioritize that. Unhappily, another Super Bowl wasted by D coordinator. No, Edgar, no. No, they only scored 19 points in regulation. Was it 19 total? It was no. Edgar, Wilkes did a good job, especially with no Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah,
especially with no Dre Greenlaw. He's a stud. He was playing hair on fire. Moody was solid. Yeah, we had the block kick.
If he had to put that over, we win.
Well, I think things play out differently. I think the Chiefs go for it instead of kicking a field goal. Maybe they win by more and sooner. Maybe it doesn't even go to overtime. But yeah, it was big. It was definitely big. And he kicked it low. It was not a good kick. He kicked it off his ankle. It was not a good, you're supposed to kick it off the front of your foot. So it was not a whiff, but it was not a clean kick. We're just saying hi. Defense got to recover a fumble, interception, sacks. Offense couldn't score. Let's see here. Oh, wow. I'm pretty behind on the chat. So maybe I'll scoot to the bottom.
What time is it?
We got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe. It all adds up. That's for sure.
I'm going to look through some and just see if there's some.
I mean, my wife was saying, "Oh, it's all scripted, and the Chiefs are going to win," and da 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 da. And it's getting harder and harder to ignore that the NFL meets WWE.
Jeremy Dietzel Gaming at 9:45 says, "I think we should explore trading Debo. Always getting soft tissue injuries. We need to retool the O-line." It's something that I've heard a couple of times. Debo doesn't get open a lot, as we know. But I still think he brings a lot more skill-wise to this team. I like him. I wouldn't trade him. I like him. I like him a lot.
Got Frank Tom Ocean in the house. He's heartbroken. It's funny. I saw somebody tweet something about like, oh, real hardcore Niner fans aren't that upset because their soul was already dead or whatever. And I didn't like it or promote it or anything, but I was like, God, I can kind of relate to that because I'll tell you, I'm not as bummed out as I have been in the past. I'm sort of just like, until Kyle proves otherwise, this is what we can expect.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
My son was absolutely devastated. He was bawling his eyes out for at least an hour.
Oh, luckily my son's still too young yet. So I have two sons, but the older son is still too young yet.
My youngest, it was my youngest.
He was like just excited that the host of the party, their son, let him have a little Batman Lego car. He was just over the moon about that. So he's not too worried about it. Fortunately, I don't want to see him hurting by any stretch. We're only one loss away from being the Bills. I mean, sort of recently, yes, but you look like you're old enough to remember the first 5. So, I mean, just remember the Bills have never won a single Super Bowl, let alone 5. So it's not quite there. Phil says the NFL should stay in America. No, they got to grow. It's built on growth. They got to keep the growth going. And barring
the one thing, so the NRL, the national sport down here, is coming to Vegas and is playing. We are opening our year at Allegiant Stadium.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Sentinel's saying he's rocking his gear. Real fans are. I was wearing my gear around today.
Of course. I went to the store.
Nice. So we're running out of time here, folks. But just real quick, let's say hi to Dante Too Cold. Chiefs defense is really good. We knew that going in, though. I wouldn't say they dominated, but they were both defenses played really, really well, honestly. Chris Hansen in the house. Catch him on to catch a predator. Sit down and have a wine cooler and some pizza. You may not get the reference. It was this thing in the States.
Yeah, you know what? I think what the Sentinel Football Channel said, that's how I feel for the most. The fans who never got to see this team win a Super Bowl, we're thought of as this great organization. We've only witnessed pain for 20 years. Yeah,
for the young fans, I get it.
Yeah, for sure. As I said, I was living in. I was a snowboard instructor over in Tahoe with a fan living. And my girlfriend at the time were mad. Their family was mad 49er fans, and that's when I fell in love with this team. And the last, 5 years have been great. So, and all since 2019, but it's been tough.
Yeah, No, it
but
was real
also
bad.
a great ride. You know, we're a good football team and a great organized. Oh, anyway, I was going.
2003 to 2010 was rough.
Yeah.
2014 and 15 and 16 were rough. And 2020 was rough, but that was just COVID and injuries.
Yeah.
Got Kim in the house. What's up, Kim? Yeah, I feel for the younger fans, especially, no doubt about it. Look at the 70s Dolphins. Okay. Oh, okay. Lost and then won back to back. Okay. All right.
Yes, let's do that. Let's do that, Chris.
So there is one team that's done it. All right. Don Shula's perfect season. Maybe we can get one of those too. Hey, well, thanks everybody for stopping by. We appreciate it. It's been a real pleasure. As always, check out Pete at Pete D. Burge, Niners DNA. I'll just say peace and go Niners.
Go Niners.